Hello YouTubers of the world, I am Swift, otherwise known as SwiftGuns93 on DN, and I'm bringing you a Bujin deck profile, because Bujins are cool, and I still think Bujins can hang with a lot of the top decks within the format. It's just depending on how you run them. This is my take on them. This build isn't nowhere near what most people would run. And it's not. You guys will see it as the deck video goes on. We'll just get into the deck. So to start it off, of course you have the bread and butter of the deck, the three staple Bujin Yamato. Yamato's just such a good card. He's the centerpiece of the deck. He gets everything going. He dumps your Bujinjis to the grave so they can protect him. Like, you can just basically sit behind Yamato all day as long as you set your grave upright and you know what you're doing. Other than that, you have the two Harume. Harume is the latest Bujin Beast Warrior that was released at Primal Origin. Go ahead and fix that for a second. But Harume actually gives you the ability to OTK, believe it or not, which is something Bujin decks cannot normally do. That, and it's just her combined with Arasuda, who I'll get to a little later, provides you excellent plays where you can make Xyz plays without having a normal summon, which frees up your summons for Yamato or maybe Mikazuchi. Mikazuchi actually happens to be my favorite of all the Bujin Beast Warriors, just because it's the presence he has in hand. Because if your Yamato gets destroyed, then you can special him from hand, meaning you really lost no presence. And then you can search for one of the Bujin spell traps, which are very key, especially this format, because the Bujin spell traps are kind of what helps keep the Bujins hanging around with some of the top decks. And then lastly, for the Bujin Beast Warriors, you have Arasuda. Arasuda combos so well with Harume, as I alluded to earlier, because Harume, you banish a Bujin to special her, and then when a Bujin is banished from your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special Arasuda and just make rank 4 Xyz plays and all sorts of stuff like that. It's really, really good. That's it for the Beast Warriors. Then for the Bujinji monsters, you have 3 Bujinji Crane, 4 Honest. Why would you not want to run 4 Honest in a deck? It's that simple. 3 has always been the number for me. I could never do 2. I would never in life do 1. Just no. Then you have the 2 Bujinji Turtle. Turtle prevents your Beast Warriors from being targeted by card effects, which is also very, very key. You can't use them in a damage step. A new ruling that was actually put into effect not too long ago, but Bujinji Turtle is still a good card to have in general, just for like main phase 1 opponent shenanigans, whenever they want to try stuff like that, and it's still a great card overall. Bujinji Hair, one of the other more powerful Bujinji monsters. It protects your monsters from being destroyed by battle or card effect once during that turn, but you can only use this effect once per turn. So if you have 2, don't try to banish 2 in the same turn, because it won't work on the same Bujin. You know, it won't work, period. Anyway. And the last Bujinji monster we run is 1 Bujinji Quillin. If I had the main deck room, I would run another one. I'd probably side the second one, but this card just opens up some really good plays, because it opens up your opponent's field. And like, especially this format alone, with everybody running vanities and whatnot, and they just have a monster, you pop that monster and vanities goes with it, and then just it opens. It's just too good not to run at all. And I've been seeing people not run this card at all, and I don't see why. Then the last monster we run is Honest, because honestly, it's honest. That's it for the monsters. 17 monsters. It's not a bad monster lineup. You typically, some people like the toolbox with the deck, but you typically, like 17 is not a bad number for monsters, because you go into everything pretty decently. Now, for the spells, we're running 3 Tenki. Tenki searches out all your Beast Warriors. Beast Warrior targets. It's just that simple. You search out Yamato. If you already have Yamato, you search out Mikazuchi, Harume, Arasuda, whichever ones you want to search out. It's just that good. 2 Bujin Carnation. Carnation is a really good card, but you don't want to run 3 of it right now, because it can clog. It It's a great comeback card, but it's not a whole lot you can do with it if you open with 3 of them in your hand. Because all that does is poop on you, and you don't want that. And the last spell I'm running is 1 burial from a different dimension, just because it gets all your banished monsters back into the grave, so you can reuse them again. It just makes for good plays and whatnot. You banish a turtle, like you can go Harume, banish turtle when you really need the turtle, special Harume, special air suitor. Burial, bring back the turtle so they can't target your Xyz play or whatever. It just makes for good plays overall. That's it for the spells. I'm only running 6 spells, which typically you don't see in a deck, in a Bujin deck. You normally see stuff like Kaiser, Duality, Lance, and all of that. But instead of running all those spells, I opted to run more traps, which we're gonna get into right now. Traps I'm running are 3 Wiretap and 3 Dark Bribe. That's going to start off the trap lineup, and we're going to talk about this for just a second. Wiretap is just because Wiretap's just a good staple. I opted to go Dark Bribe because in the battle phase you'll get a lot of pushes and whatnot, and just you want to stop them. And if they draw a card while you're attacking for a game or whatever, it doesn't really matter what they drew. So, because a lot of people won't run this just because it gives your opponent the chance to draw into something good, and that's been a fear that's prevented a lot of people from playing Dark Bribe, especially in formats such as this. But I feel as though the counter trap is just too strong to not run, because it stops spells and traps. So why would you not run it? Just because they can draw a card doesn't mean they're going to draw into what they need. It's a gamble that I'm willing to take in the deck. It's just, but you guys don't have to run it. That's just my personal preference. Then you run 2 30 Roar, another card that's really just personal preference. I prefer for my opponent not to have a battle phase whatsoever, so they don't have a chance to try to beat over me and I take damage and all of that good stuff. I'm also running 2 Phoenix Chains and 1 Breakthrough Skill. I opted to run the 2 Phoenix Chains just because I want to stop attacks as well as effects, and Breakthrough Skills just a staple. You might see people do it the other way around, 1 break or 2 breakthrough, 1 chain. It's another thing that's just personal preference. I'm still running the sword because the sword is still a good card. It's still an amazing card if you know how to use it, and it just opens up more plays that you can go to, and it gives you can get your model back from grave. So why not use it? 1 Mirror Force. Yes, this is a Japanese Mirror Force. Mirror Force is just in here to punish players who think they can overcommit to the board and swing out, and then you Mirror Force them and they don't really expect it, especially not in this format. I'm running 1 Deep Prison. Deep Prison, I'm only running 1. I would run more, but I don't want to. Simply because, like, I have hand traps and other outs to all these other monsters that people normally wouldn't be able to get rid of. And just Deep Prison is only really for, like, Winter and stuff like that. And there are outs over Winter besides Deep Prison. It's just in there just in case. I'm running a Tensen. This was a suggestion, I can't get my words out, from one of my other teammates. So I'm trying it out just to see how it goes. It's been working very well so far, but it's a theory-based card at the moment. I don't really have any solid feedback for it just yet, so it's a card that's optional. I wouldn't suggest running it just yet because I don't know how it plays for myself, but if you guys like it, then take it and run with it. Then for the last few cards, you get the staples: Compulse, Torrential, and Solemn Warning, which rounds out the main deck. I do believe it may be at 41, which is a weird number, but it's only 1 over 40, so it's not that big of a deal. That's it for the main deck. I don't have a side deck prepared for you guys because I never do side deck until like the night before I go to an event or whatever. So side deck, you guys on your own. However, for the extra deck, I'm running 3 Susanoo, or Susanoo, or as I like to call it, Susan G. Komen, but that's just me. Susanoo is like the best card in your extra deck. and you run a lot of balling cards, so that says something, is that you can beat over every monster on the field because it can attack every monster your opponent controls once each. Then you detach and you search. So whatever, if you don't have a Yamato, you can detach, add the Yamato, or you can dump a Bujin to the grave, which gives you a chance to make a different play. You can dump a Quillin, a turtle, or a hare, just anything that you want to dump to the grave. It's just super, super good. And see, a lot of people running 2. I was running 2, but I bumped it back to 3 just because I had the free slot, and I was like, why not? 2 Kakasuchi. Kakasuchi's a great card. It's just not one you want to run 2 of because you don't really like the mill's fine. But you don't want to mill twice. Then it takes 2 Beast Warriors, meaning you're probably gonna have to waste a Yamato to make them, and you never want to do that either. It's just, if I had an Amaterasu, I'd be running Amaterasu over the second Kakasuchi. Still a great card overall, but just not one you want to run 2 of. Then the last Bujin easy monster I'm running is one Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is a very theory-based card to me as well because it's just, the effect's not all that great. I never really go into it often. The effect's good. It's just, it's kind of situational. Extremely situational, I would say. It's just not something you want to have to do. You have to drop your hand to draw 2 cards. I mean, if you have to like I said, it's just situational. You guys will understand as you come to run the deck and learn the deck and its ins and outs. For the other Xyz, I'm running 1 Tiger King. Tiger King is another suggestion from a teammate that I took up because the skill drain effect is just monstrous. That's just retardedly good, especially in this deck because the only effects that you really ever want to go off on field is your Yamato or your Mikazuchi. So they tend to just, this card just sets up so many plays. You can set a Tenki, you can set a Tensen, which I run in here. So that's just another target, and like I said, that skill drain effect is just too good. I had to run it. Then other extra deck cards. This would be an Excitation Night if I had an Excitation Night, which is odd because I had like 4 last month. But that's neither here nor there. Still some roaches just in here to negate big monsters, summons like Leo, stuff like that. Stuff that you can't normally get over, that you want to just stop them right out the gates. Then you got Beast Dweller, another decent staple, Xyz, Black Ship, great against hands if you ever run into him. Kind of going in a Luminescent Knight. I go into him more often than I go into almost anything else that's not a Bujin, because his effect is just really, really good because you can make your opponent target their own stuff if they're trying to target your Yamato. It protects your Yamato and makes for good plays. Then going Casella Omega, 2 light monsters, can beat over anything. Well, not really beat over anything, but you can get him in for 24 damage without having to worry about him being affected by spells and traps. Then Diamond Dyer, just because you have other targets in here besides Diamond Dyer. Like, you can go Diamond Dyer, target your Yamato, pop one of their cards, banish a hair, your Yamato's safe, and then just crash and deal damage. And then the last 2 are 2 of the most powerful Xyz in the game at the moment, Honor Arc and Castell respectively, because they are just too good not to be running in any deck that can make rank 4s. And that is it for my Bujin deck profile. I hope you guys like it, and give me some feedback. Tell me what you think about what my take on the deck, what you think I should do, what you think I shouldn't do. Did you like it? All that good stuff. Be looking for a Fire Fist deck profile. I do believe it's a +1 build. +1 build Fire Fist. Probably gonna do a deck profile on a Gladiator Beast deck, and a Teleport Card Carry deck profile should be coming soon. And a Shadal deck profile will be coming very, very soon. And we're gonna try to get more stuff on the channel for you guys, like discussions, deck discussions, top decks of the week, top decks of the format, just different stuff like that. Interact with you guys a little more. But as of the moment, this is Swift Guns signing out.